Alright, hello and welcome to another video on the channel. It's going to be the final part of predictions during the Premier League today, if anyone is unable to read or can't see. We are doing the Premier League. So let me get the teams ready to go. I have to do it like this because apparently the game doesn't want to work. Otherwise, I need to find my pen as well. I don't know where I put my pen. But, oh, there it is. I don't care about the manager. It's not important. What's important is we get the predictions done. There might be some controversial ones, we'll say, in here. I may have gone a bit, rogue for some of them. I'm being 100% with you. But at the end of the day, it's all fun and games. I just sort my pen and paper out, just get everything sorted. I should really be ready beforehand, but I've got the preparation of a 3-year-old, so my phone could stay on charge without tangling. That'd be brilliant too. Not asking for a lot. Anyway, right, let's switch the teams out that aren't in the Premier League anymore. Burnley for... I'm trying to remember who got promoted. Fulham, Bournemouth and Forest, wasn't it? Right, so who else went down? Norwich for Fulham. And Watford for Forest. Took me a second there, so try to remember. There we go. Those are the teams for the Premier League 2022-2023 season. All 20, all correct. I suppose without further ado, I'm just going to wipe my eye because I've got something in my eye. Give me a second. Bear with me, guys. Sorry about this. Alright, without any further ado, let's get the predictions started. So, we're going to start with Bournemouth, and coincidentally, we're going to start at the bottom of the table, which I want to see Bournemouth survive. I don't mind Bournemouth. I do like Bournemouth. But there's been a lack of transfer activity at the Vitality Stadium. They've still got Solanke, who scored 29 goals on their way to promotion. But I still don't think that goal-scoring threat will be enough to keep them up. They've got some quality players with Solanke, with, what's his name, midfield? I think it's Billing, maybe. They have got some quality players, but I just don't think it'll be enough to survive in this league, especially when the Premier League is probably its most competitive it has been in a while. And I want to say Bournemouth will survive, but I honestly don't see it, to be honest with you. If they do a bit more business, they may scrape something, but at the moment I've got them 20th, and I don't think that's going to change. So I think that's probably spot on, if I'm being honest, but we'll see. They might surprise everyone. You never know. Up next, right. Well, this is going to be what they call a controversial one. This is one of my controversial ones here because Arsenal have had incredible business in this transfer window. They've done really well. They've signed Gabriel Jesus. They needed a striker to help them. They needed a new left back. Well, I don't really need a new left back, but they signed Zinchenko as well. They signed Fabio Vieira. There's still more people that they could sign. They're looking to offload players so they could try and afford some more transfers coming into the club. But I'm going to go controversial here. I'm going to say, oh, do I do it? Am I ready for the backlash for any Arsenal fans that watch this? I'm going to say 6th. And the reason I'm going to say 6th is I know they have all this young talent and they have all these new signings, but I just don't think they've got enough experience in the squad. I think the squad is too young overall, and I don't know if they'll be able to last the entire season. If they bring some more experience in before the end of the window, then... I mean, I'll probably be wrong by the end of the season, but for now, and it's really controversial, I know, I'm going to go 6th position for the Gunners. And it's not because I don't like, well, I don't like them, obviously, as a Man United fan, but I just don't know if they've got enough in the tank to get to Champions League again. well, to get to Champions League, I guess. They didn't get it again because they were fifth last year, but you get my point. It might be controversial, but it's what I think. And if I'm wrong, then I'll take all the hate at the end of the season. Up next is Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa is a curious club, and there may be some change arounds by the end of this predictions, but I think I've got most of these nailed down in my head. But there might be some change arounds by the end of this season. So, first of all, I had Aston Villa in 10th, but I'm considering upgrading them to a 9th because their business, once again, has been stellar. They signed all the players they needed to at the start of the season. The main one I can remember is Diego Carlos at centre-back. That's a world-class signing. They signed Kamara on a free transfer. Boubacar Kamara, that's a hell of a signing. There are just a few world-class players away from potentially reaching Europe again, in my opinion. But last year, they signed a lot of players, and they signed a lot of world-class players. But they underwhelmed, finishing 13th. But that was probably just after the loss of Jack Grealish. Now that they've accustomed to that, and I think they've filled that gap well with better players. I think Buendia will kick on this year. I think Watkins will score a few more goals, perhaps. I think they'll kick on a bit more. And I'm actually going to say 9th. But this may be a mistake, alright? This may be a mistake, and I may change my mind again before the end of the video. But currently, I'm going to say Aston Villa finish in 9th position. Top half finish, it's not bad, and like I said, a couple more world-class signings, you kick on for Europe next season. As for Brentford, there's a lot of bookies and people taking bets that Brentford will go down this year. Second season syndrome will hit them hard, and they will fall back into the Championship. Now, I am not one of those people. I think they've signed well this window. I think there's Strakosha from Lazio in between his sticks. I think his name's Strakosha. I could be wrong. They've got Ben Mee from Burnley. Strong, reliable Premier League experienced centre-back. And not to mention as well, they signed, I think it was Mikael Damsgaard they signed recently. He is young and he scored a banger in the Euros against England, from what I remember. I think it was him who scored it, but I think it was England that scored it against. But he is a young talent who is bursting with potential. And Brentford have done, I think they've done well enough in this window to avoid relegation. I'm not saying they clear it by much, but I am saying they finish 15th. I reckon it'll be like a 7 or 8 point gap by the end of it. I'm going to say 15th for the Bees. I do see him surviving. I just don't see him really kicking on, if that makes sense. Tony needs to replicate what he did last season. I think he got like 15 goals, was it? Something like that. He needs to do that again. And obviously he needs some more goals from around him. They've not got Ericsson, which would be the big hole in the midfield, which is why I've put him down a tiny bit. But I think they'll still have enough to survive. I'm possibly debating putting him to 16th, and I may change my mind before the end of the video, of course. But that's for what the spreadsheet is all about. I'll just say now, before we go any further, there will be a spreadsheet link in the description that will give full details and full kind of, my actual positions by the end of the video on what my predictions are. As a Man United fan, we're absolutely getting relegated. I've got a bit bold with it. I've got a bit bold with my prediction for Man United, but we'll see that very, very soon. Up next is Brighton. It's another team who has done very, very well. If they can hold on to Cucurella, then I don't think they will, because Chelsea and Manchester City are very aggressively sniffing around the left back. But if they can hold on to Cucurella, I think they get top half again. I think they can get top half again. I remember saying at the end, reacting to my predictions, if they have a good window, then they could potentially push on to Europe. But they've lost Basuma. They could lose Cucurella. They haven't really strengthened up too much. But Dennis Undav is back off his loan spell. He had a world-class performance. I can't remember who he was on loan to. He had a world-class season. And he got a team of the season. But Basuma's going to be missed. Cucurella, if he goes, which I'm assuming he will, this prediction is based off the fact that he will go. He's going to be missed. And I'm going to say Brighton finish 11th. I think 11th is a good... It's still a good spot. It's still a good spot for Brighton, but I don't think they'll break into that top half if Cucurella goes. If he stays somehow by some miracle, I'm going to say they finish 10th, like top half. But I think... it'll impact them, obviously, but they do have the quality to get up the table. They won't be in a relegation dogfight at all. By no means will they be in a relegation dogfight. They'll be safe. That's my alarm playing. Sorry about that. Forgot to turn that off. Anyway, this is going to be another controversial one. Chelsea. There's a lot. Most people are tipping them for top four, and this is partly bias and partly because I just don't think they'll do it. I don't think they're going to finish top four. They strengthened the defence really well. They've strengthened the whole team really well, to be honest. Koulibaly coming in. I think Fofana's meant to be signed. I'm trying to think who else is signed. I'll have to look at the. I think I'll go look at the signings for them because I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's take a look because Koulibaly. They signed Raheem Sterling. They signed Chukwuemeka, who's one for the future rather than one for the now. They're looking at Aubameyang. And apparently they've sealed a deal for Cucurella. They're still looking for a lot of people, but what they're missing is a key striker. What they're missing is a goal scorer because they've sold Lukaku out on loan. They're potentially moving on Werner. And if they have Havertz in that striker role, or if they have Mount in that striker role, I just don't think there'll be enough goals. I know Sterling will come off the wing and help get goals, and I know there'll be goals from around the team. But I don't think there's going to be as many goals from the back five as there was last year, if that makes sense. Koulibaly is a decent signing. Would have been better, in my opinion, a few years ago to get him. He's still good, but I just don't know how he'll do in the Premier League. And this is controversial, but me and Jordan agree here. I'd put Chelsea 5th. And I don't know how that's going to look at the end of the season. Especially, they still might sign a lot of talent by the end of the window. And if they do, they'll break top four. But at the moment, they haven't got a complete striker. The midfield is getting older. The whole team is getting older. Like I said earlier about, I think it was Arsenal in experience. Chelsea needs some more young blood in their team. It's kind of the other way around. But I just think that they won't break top four. And it's partly bias, I'll admit. I'll be straight up honest with everyone. But it's partly because I just don't think they'll do it. I just don't think they can do it. Up next is Crystal Palace. Now, these guys, again, I want them to succeed, and I don't think they'll get relegated by any means, but I don't think they'll break the top half again either. Crystal Palace are just like a mainstay now. They just seem to be kind of in the league, just, pull off some shock victories against some teams, lose to other teams quite considerably, because I remember last season, I think they lost to Norwich 3-0 or something like that, and then they beat Manchester United 1-0 on the final day, so they're capable of a shock. They're capable of getting results against the Big Six, and they've got some strong quality players. They've got Elise, they've got Eze, and if they don't have injuries this season, they'll kick on really well. They've got Zaha, of course. They've got Edouard, who's a proven striker. They've more or less kept the same team as last year. There's not been any big departures from Palace, but of course there's not been any big kind of signings either. And if there has, I've not really been paying attention, I guess. But I think, I'm trying to remember where they finished last year. Where did they finish last? I'm going to have to do some world-renowned research here. This is your streamer doing some world-renowned research. I can't remember where they finished last year. I want to say 12th. They did finish 12th, and what's mental is I was thinking of putting them 12th again. I was thinking of having them 12th again, and the best part is I am just going to go through with that. They're a mainstay in the Premier League. There's no worries about them going towards a relegation zone, in my opinion. I may change that by the end of the video, of course, but there's no worries to me for Crystal Palace. They're a strong team that will stay in the Premier League for a while to come, at least until Zaha is gone. Up next is Everton. Now this is a team that is on the come down, on the back burner. They've had Richarlison, of course, as their biggest departure. I believe, did Jordan Pickford leave or not? I think he was linked with a move away, but I can't remember if he actually did move. As well, they sold Digne to Aston Villa in January. They've got Mikolenko, to be fair, but I just don't think they've not really signed enough. They've not really replaced that striker role. They've got Calvert-Lewin, but of course he's injured for a little bit at the start of the season. They're going to struggle. I don't think they're going to go down. I think they've got enough quality in that team to stay up. But I can't believe I'm putting Everton down towards the bottom of the table. It's mental to me because these guys used to be a top 7 team, and I remember I think it was a few years ago they actually got top 4, and maybe even a couple of years ago with that team they had James Rodriguez, Richarlison, obviously Calvert-Lewin as well. They had Rafa Benitez as a manager. They could have, if that team could have gelled and if everyone could have got on, they could have kicked on for a European spot. But now it's the other way around for the Toffees, and I'm saying, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm saying 16th. I think they're going to finish below Brentford. I may switch that with a team later to come, but I think 16th, and that might be mental, but I just don't think that they're going to be clear of relegation zone by much. I think they'll do it. They'll be in a relegation battle, but they stay up. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think they'll be in that dogfight all season. And if they can't kick on this season under Frank Lampard, surely he gets sacked at some point. Either they bring in a new manager and they go on the upper, or they bring in a new manager and they go down. I don't know. It's a weird kind of case at Everton. I'm not really fully sold on them staying up, but I think they will just about. Up next is that yo-yo club that never seems to face Norwich. I don't remember the last time Fulham and Norwich had a game. And I made this prediction in my championship predictions. And it was that if Fulham go down, Norwich will go up, of course. Or if Norwich go up, Fulham go down. And I predicted Norwich in my championship predictions to win playoffs. So that being said, I expect Fulham. I know they've signed brilliantly. I know they've got Mitrovic, who's in the best form of his life. They've actually signed some really good players. Andreas Pereira is the first one that comes to mind because we sold him to them. And I believe they signed Bernd Leno as well in goal. Premier League experience in between your sticks. But they don't have a convincing centre-back. By the time this video goes up, by the time the transfer window closes, they may have a better centre-back. They may have someone who can anchor that defence. But at the moment, they don't have that. And I think it's just in their nature to go down. I think it'll be by goal difference as well. But I'm putting Fulham, and I'm sorry if there's any Fulham fans watching, I think it'll be agonisingly 18th. And I think it'll be very close with the team I've put 17th. But I think 17th will just edge it. Fulham, if they get a quality centre-back, there's a very high case of them staying up. But at the moment, they don't have that high quality centre-back. So we shall see on that kind of occasion there. As for the next team, Leeds United, they were in a relegation battle. Second season syndrome hit them hard, but they just managed to scrape by. They managed to survive on the final day, Burnley going down in place of them. Now, they've sold Rafinha to Barcelona, but they have signed quite a few players. I'm going to have to refresh my memory as the names they signed. So this is some more streamer research. I'm just trying to remember who they signed, though. Of course, they've sold Rafinha. They've sold Calvin Phillips as well. I keep forgetting they sold Calvin Phillips. He's gone to Manchester City. But I think they've replaced quite well. They've got Mark Roca coming in. I think he's a CDM, isn't he? From memory. They've got Christensen coming in from Salzburg. They've got Tyler Adams coming in from Leipzig. Sinisterra, who was one of the standouts in the Eredivisie last season for Feyenoord. And then Brendan Aronson from Salzburg. A lot of people are predicting a hard season for Leeds, but I am not one of them. I think with the signings they've made, with the depth they've got now, and with some players coming back, like Bamford, he was injured majority of last season. When he comes back, I think he'll kick on. I don't think he'll get a ridiculous amount of goals. He'll hit double figures, definitely, I think. But I think Leeds, and I know this is maybe a wild one. It's one from left field. But I've put them 14th. Now I know it's going to be a wild one, but a lot of people last year were predicting them top half. I've seen some people this year predict them top half again, or predict them like 11th or 12th. I think 14th is a bit more realistic. It is going to be difficult. I think what they're going to do is they're going to kick off this season horribly, but then they'll finally gel together as a squad and end up in that kind of 14th, 15th position, kind of just that area where they're safe and like they could have been in a relegation battle, but they're gonna survive. It's the third season now. I think they're gonna be on their way to becoming a Premier League mainstay, and hence why I put them 14th. I think they're gonna improve on a couple of places from last year. This is gonna look horrible when they go down, but I mean, we'll never know. Bear with me, guys. I don't know if it's a cold or hay fever, but I can't get this runny nose gone. I cannot seam it for the life of me to get it gone. Up next is another interesting case. Leicester City. Now, I want to believe that they can go back in towards Europe, but I don't see it. They're probably going to lose Fofana before the end of the window. I think they've already lost Tielemans. If not, they're very close to losing him. The squad is aging. Kasper Schmeichel, their incredible goalkeeper, has gone to Nice. I don't know who they're going to sign in between the sticks for this season either. I think Leicester. I don't want to sound bad because I do like Leicester, even though they beat us last season. But I do like Leicester. But I think their honeymoon period in the Premier League is over. If I'm being truthfully honest, if I'm being 100% honest, I think their honeymoon period is over. And I've gone for a bit of a mean prediction here that you may think is out of the blue, just wild, really. I don't know what people will think about this, but I've put them 10th. I think they'll still stay in the top half of the table. I just don't think they'll improve on that, if that makes sense. I think they'll probably just stay kind of mid-table now. I don't think they'll go back up to. I don't think they'll go back up to the top. I don't think they'll ever. I don't want to say I don't think they'll ever see Europe again. I just don't think it'll be for a while. Vardy's been linked with a move away as well. They do have the strikers to pull it off, but I just don't think they have that whole team as much as they did. It's not the same team that was in Europe. It's not the same team that won that Premier League season. I just think that their honeymoon period is over. They're going to fall down the table a little bit. I might be wrong, but that's just me. This nose is going to be the death of me, I swear to God. If I'm recording career mode later, I'm going to make sure I have some tissues on hand because this did my head in. Try to stop my nose running every time. But anyway, up next is Liverpool. Now, I was toying with the idea of maybe having them win the Premier League, thinking they would win the Premier League. They've signed well. They've sold Sadio Mane, of course, but they've signed well. They've got Fabio Carvalho from Fulham, which when I was talking about Fulham, I probably should have mentioned that Fulham lost a big name in him. They've signed Nunez. Why can't I remember his name? He's in my career mode. He's in my night team. But they signed Nunez as well. He is going to kick on. He's going to get 15 at least this season. They've kept the most of the team. They've retained most of their squad. It's more or less the same. I don't think a lot of players will be coming in, or a lot of teams will be coming in for Liverpool players. The thing is, the problem with Liverpool, and I do like, out of Liverpool and Man City, I'm starting to lean towards Liverpool. I used to like City more, but because they've just bought their way up to the top, and that's a controversial opinion just there. But because they've actually built a team quite well. They're getting older, and I don't know how much longer some of these players will stay around. Van Dijk's in his 30s now. Salah's going to hit 30 by the end of the season. Firmino, of course, he's around 30 as well, and it'll probably be Jota that starts out of Firmino, if truth be told. But Henderson as well, he's getting on a bit. I think it's just going to be a problem. Not this season. It'll be fine this season. I think they'll very much contend for the Premier League title again this season. But I think after this season they need to try and maybe reconsider some positions and try and find some good replacements. Because I believe Thiago as well. He's around 30 years of age. It's going to be at that point, and I'm thinking this kind of FIFA way, and I really shouldn't be, but it's going to be that kind of point where they need to bring in some more young talent to try and take over the current talent, which they've done, to be fair. Darwin Nunez coming in, Fabio Carvalho coming in, but it's just going to be a two-horse race, the title again. You think it'll be another close battle with City, but you think it'll fall short again. I am in total agreement. I think Liverpool will get that second place spot. It'll be a secure second place spot. I don't think it'll be as close as last year. I think City will probably have a few extra points on them. But Liverpool definitely in that second spot, and definitely consolidated Champions League once again are the Reds. Now, speaking of Manchester City, As a United fan, it pains me to say. I want to put him in the relegation zone. I'm tempted to just put him 19th just for the crack, but of course, no. Manchester City will win the league again. It'll be the third league in a row for Pep, something I believe he hasn't done with any of his clubs, which will be record-breaking, which is one of the main reasons why I was considering putting Liverpool over Manchester City. But Manchester City have signed well this season. They've kept the majority of their squad as well. They've signed Calvin Phillips from Leeds. He's a good CDM. I think he'll probably be on the bench behind Rodri to start with, or maybe he'll play alongside Rodri at the start of the season. Of course, they've signed the big man from Dortmund, one of the best young strikers in the world at the moment, and of course, his father played for this club as well. It is Erling Haaland who'll be leading the Manchester City line. They have lost Sterling, but they've got plenty of cover in that position. They've got plenty of cover everywhere. Manchester City are a ridiculous team. I think they could have two teams. I think even the second team could probably get top four if they use a second team rather than their main team. It's ridiculous how much depth they have. It's ridiculous how much talent they have. But I think they're going to dominate football for a long time to come, unfortunately. And as a United fan, it pains me to say that. But I think they are going to win the league again. And I wouldn't bet against Haaland being top scorer. But the thing is, last year, everyone was like, oh, Lukaku's back in the Premier League. He's going to score a banger. I'm pretty sure I'm one of the only people I think I know. Maybe a couple of other people I've seen on the internet. But I was the only one who said, imagine if Lukaku flops. I think he could flop. And he did. So, I mean, Haaland is still possible to flop. But I think he's just a next level striker where I don't think he physically can. But I'm just saying, there is a possibility that Haaland could flop. There's a possibility that Haaland could be injured. These things could impact the City season. But, of course, Manchester City, I think they're going to win the league again. I'm trying to think of reasons why they won't. There's no reason big enough, in my opinion. I hate to say it. Up next, the best club in Manchester. The best club in the world, to be completely honest, if you're a Man United fan, which I am. It is, of course, Manchester United. And this is going to be absolutely... I want to apologise formally before I make this prediction, because this is 95% bias. I'll be really 95% bias where I've put Manchester United here. But I honestly think Ten Hag, he's going to do a good job with his team. It may not be this season, but next season will come back as a massive team, I think, or at least in the next few seasons. But this is going to be controversial. It is a lot of bias on this prediction, and I may end up being right, but I've put them fourth. All right, okay, I've put them fourth. I've put us above Chelsea and Arsenal, and that may be a mistake, and it probably is. But you have to believe in your team, and I do strongly believe in United. I don't know if it'll be enough for top four, but I do strongly believe in United. I think with our squad, if Sancho and Rashford can play like they played in pre-season, if Ronaldo can come back and bag the same amount of goals as he did last year, I don't know if he'll stick around still. I don't know what's going on with Ronaldo at this point. But we've got Lisandro Martinez coming in. He can play centre-back or CDM. I think we just need another player in either of those positions just to shore up that defensive area as well. We've got Christian Eriksen, one of the most creative midfielders in Premier League history, and I hope he can do the same for our team here. Imagine Eriksen alongside Fernandes. That's a fucking... If they're kicking on in top form, that's a wet dream right there. And of course, we've got Tyrell Malacia at fullback as well. He had an incredible Europa Conference League final against Roma. Of course, Feyenoord did come up short, but he is a young player for the future as well. I don't know if he'll start ahead of Shaw from the outset or Wan-Bissaka from the outset, but he definitely looks decent. So I'm not opposed to it. But yeah, I'll just see Man United at 6 to me. Harsh, but we still haven't got a top quality CDM. We need depth in attack. Think certain players aren't good enough in their positions to secure top 4. Rashford and Bruno have to have a rebound season. I'm just hoping that the players will kick on like they have in pre-season, and if they hit the top 4, fourth is a realistic one. And I'm putting fourth just partly because I am biased as I am, but I think if I was an honest man, I'd probably predict about a top 4, but I'm not. So there it is. Up next are Newcastle United, the team who have strengthened ridiculously again in this window. They've got Bruno Guimaraes, of course, from January. They've signed a hell of a lot of players. I think they're one winger from like doing something ridiculous in this league. There was occasions where I was considering sneaking Newcastle into the top six, but with all good conscience, I don't think I can. I think it's going to take a little longer for this team to gel. I think it's going to take a little longer for all the signings to settle in. I think it's going to take a little longer for everything to come together. But like I said, one good winger to help them there. Maybe even just a world-class striker. I know they've got Callum Wilson, but somebody who can bang them in on a regular basis. I think if they sign a world-class striker, world-class winger, I think they're set. I think they're set for the Premier League season. But for now, and I know this is bold. I know this is bold because they had a hell of a second half last season. First half of the season, they were awful. Then they got bought over, signed a few players in January to try and revolutionise things. And boy, has it. If Kieran Trippier is back and has a fully fit season, I'm going a bit ridiculous with this prediction. It may be proven wrong by the end of the season, but I'm going Newcastle in 7th. I think they will just finish behind Arsenal in my predictions. I don't think they'll just finish behind Arsenal. I think they'll finish behind Arsenal. I think it will be like a 6 point gap between 6th and 7th. But Newcastle, they're on their way up. They're on the up, and I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years we see them as Premier League winners. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think this season, the squad needs a little longer to get together, and they need to sign a few more world-class players, which they can do now. They have the facilities for it. They've been linked to Maddison, who is a brilliant cam. I think they need to sign a world-class winger. I don't know who they're going for. I don't know who they've targeted on the wing in this window, because I don't really follow Newcastle. But they can get a couple more world-class signings in, and they may break the top six after, not this season, but the next season, if that makes sense. They may break into the big six. It's looking good for the Magpies. Up next, Nottingham Forest. Now, it's a difficult one. Will I put all the 3 promoted teams in the drop to go straight back down? Will I do that? The answer is no. I think that Forest will survive by the skin of their teeth. I mentioned it already. Goal difference. Fulham will go down on goal difference. Nottingham Forest will survive on goal difference. I'm putting them 17th. I know they've strengthened their squad a massive amount, but the Premier League is probably the most competitive league in the world. They've got Awani in from Union Berlin, sorry. Nico Williams from Liverpool, which is some Premier League experience right there. Niakate as well. But the main one, in my opinion, well, main two, in my opinion, and I know that because I've been linked to Man United in the past, or been at Man United in the past, Jesse Lingard in that midfield role. A team like Forest will be able to create like crazy. I don't know if they'll go big goals. I hope there is enough goals that Forest stay up. And Dean Henderson as well. That's a world-class transfer for the season anyway. Dean Henderson, he is Premier League quality, and he's proved it at Sheffield United, and he will prove it again at Nottingham Forest. I don't think they'll survive by much. I want to say I have more confidence in them. But like I said, there's a lot of competition and a lot of business done by the lower teams in the league as well. But I can't really, with any good conscience, put much higher. I want to because I do like Forest, but I'm going to put them 17th. Maybe not. Maybe I'll reconsider me saying goal difference survival. But Nottingham Forest will be a Premier League team after this season, going on to their next season. I'm going to have to cut off my nose in a minute, genuinely. Right, up next we have got Southampton. Now, this was the team I was considering swapping with Forest because, and this might be controversial again, I've got Southampton going down. I've got Southampton being relegated. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. They've done barely any business. I mean, granted, they've retained a lot of their squad, but they've done barely any business. James Ward-Prowse will do his absolute utmost to keep this team up. What they need is a world-class goalkeeper. Now Fraser Forster's gone. They need a striker who is guaranteed goals. They've got Che Adams and Adam Armstrong, but they don't guarantee I don't think they guarantee goals at this level. They need someone else to come in, take his team by the scruff of its neck, just 15 to 20 goals a season. They've still got time. They've still got plenty of time to sign people. They've still got plenty of time to turn that around. Who are their signings? I need to... Some more research here. I don't think they've done a lot of signings. I don't think they've done a lot of business. They've got Bazunu in there. I completely forgot about that. Gavin Bazunu in between the sticks. They've got Lavia, who's only 18, a DM from Manchester City, which he'll grow into a team eventually. Of course, Joe Aribo from Rangers. That's a strong centre mid signing, but I just don't see them. I don't see them staying up. I don't think this team is gonna be good enough. Again, I may be predicting wrong, but at the end of last season, they managed to do enough, of course, but they were horrendous towards the end of the season. And I think it's only partly because James Ward-Prowse, the captain, dragged them to survival that they stayed up. And I want to believe they'll stay up again, but this, I think, is going to be the last season for Southampton in the Premier League. They may come straight back up next season, but I think Southampton will go down here, and I've put them as 19th. I may be wrong by the end of the season. In fact, I probably will be. Southampton always seem to have a knack of escaping, but I don't think they'll have enough against some of the teams this year. The way that some of these teams are strengthened, the way that Southampton haven't strengthened as much as some of the teams around them, I don't see them replicating where they finished last year. I see them going down, and I may be wrong. I'm sorry, Saints fans, but I don't see it staying up. Now, Spurs. Now, this is a curious case again, because Spurs could either go to the moon, they could go to the top, or they could falter and fall out of top four again. Now, as much as I would like them to fail at their top four pursuit, because my friend supports them and it's funny to argue with him over our respective clubs, I think Spurs will get top four again, and they'll secure that last spot in the top four that I haven't put anyone in yet. I think Spurs are going to finish third. They've had one hell of a window. It's ridiculous how good their window has been. I'm trying to remember some of the players off the top of my head. Kulusevski, they've got on another season-long loan. But why can't I remember any of the signings? There's some big signings. My memory's gone. Richarlison, of course, coming in from Everton. Yves Bissouma, he moves from Brighton across to Spurs. He's going to be a strong player in that centre midfield area. They've got Jed Spence coming in from Middlesbrough. He had a world-class season with Forest last year on loan from Middlesbrough. And he's got a Premier League move now to Spurs. They've got experience with Clément Lenglet coming in from Barcelona as well. I think he's going to be a backup centre-back, but he may start, and he's got experience in Europe as well. He may not be the best on his day, but sometimes he can pull it off. Of course, they've got the loanees coming back, such as Ndombele, Hill, Lascelles, so they'll probably still depart, but they've got a good squad. They've got a strong squad, and they've got a young squad as well to push on. I think Richarlison scores 15 goals this season, even though he'll probably come off the bench. They've still got Son, they've still got Kane, they've still got Kulusevski. I don't know how they'll line up this season, but I think they'll kick on. And the best thing is, they've only sold younger players who probably wouldn't break into the team anyway. I think that they've held onto their squad really well. They've retained it really well. Conte will kick on with his team. They've only sold Bergwijn and Carter Vickers, as well as Jack Clark to Sunderland. I don't see Spurs falling out of top four. I know some people have predicted them for a bad season. Conte leaves halfway through, the team doesn't gel, and they fall out of top four. But as much as I hate to say it, I think Spurs will finish top four, and I think they'll finish above us. I think they'll finish third. It's going to be a long third because City and Liverpool will just bugger off. But Spurs, if they can keep Conte and they can keep building on this squad, I don't see why they can't challenge the Premier League in a few seasons' time, to be honest. Up next, we've got West Ham. We're surely near the end now. I think there's only two more teams to predict. So West Ham up next in this predictions. Again, it's another team that I think their honeymoon period is gone. Of course, I said that about Leicester, but I think West Ham are another team where their honeymoon period is gone. I think they've had their chance towards Europe, and they've got close. And of course, they were in the Europa League last year, reached the semi-finals, but I just don't think they can kick on and get to that next level. They do have Skamaka coming in, and that's a world-class striker, which is what they need. But I think Moyes, I don't think Moyes will be able to guide these guys to another European spot, and that may be controversial. But I just don't see them kicking on this year. They've been close each time. They nearly usurped us in sixth place last year. Okay, that's a final day. But I just think West Ham may be on the down. I think they've had that honeymoon period. I think they've got as close as they're going to get. I think it's going to be kind of a bridesmaid, not the bride kind of story. I've put them in 8th. So I think they're still going to finish in a strong, solid top half spot. But I just don't think they've got the quality the top 6 has. I can't speak. They haven't put as much money into their squad as Newcastle have, which is why I've got them 7th. I think 8th is still a great position. It's still top half, and I think it'll still be a top half team for years to come. But I think Europe might just be out their reach for the foreseeable. And I don't mind West Ham, so I hope that they can kick on. But I just don't see it. I think they're going to fall slowly. 8th position this season. And I believe there is one team left. It is Wolves, and there is one position left, which is perfect, really, because this is where I think they're going to finish. Bear with me, guys. My nose is actually... It's the last team, so it's the last time I do this. But my nose is doing my head in, which is quite ironic, really. Alright, so Wolves, I do think we'll probably finish in a similar position to last year. They brought in Nathan Collins, of course, from Burnley. They needed a nice centre-back. They've got Hwang Hee-chan on a permanent deal from Leipzig as well. Adama Traore is back from his loan. I don't feel move on permanently. They've also got other players coming back in off loan, which I don't think will break into the team, however. But they've sold Ruben Vinagre to Sporting. They've sold Saiz to Besiktas. And some of the younger players either had the loan ended or have moved to other places on different transfer deals. I want to say Wolves top half. I do want to say Wolves top half because I like Wolves. But I don't know, I think what I'm going to do, and this might be controversial, sorry any Crystal Palace fans, I think I'm going to put Wolves 12th, and I'm going to move Palace down to 13th, because Wolves have replaced where they needed to replace. They needed a new centre-back. They've gone on and bought Nathan Collins. They needed some players up front as well, with, of course, Raul Jimenez. Still not the same since his unfortunate head injury, but I think he'll kick on eventually. He'll get back into it. Hwang Hee-chan is a solid striking option as well. Adama, back off loan from Barcelona. If he sticks around, he'll be imperative for Wolves this season as well. But at the end of the day, I think that it will be another mid-table season for Wolves. And 12th place, I think is fair, because they finished 13th last year. I think they'll go up a little bit. I think with the signs they've got, they'll consolidate, but I don't think they'll get much higher than that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, those are my Premier League predictions. They may be incorrect. Give me a second, I'll read them out. Just bear with me. Oh, for God's sake. Give me a new nose. It's always when I'm like when I first wake up, it's just my nose decides to go haywire. It's annoying as fuck. But I'll be recording career mode later. I'll definitely have tissues on hand. I'll absolutely need to have tissues on hand. But my predictions are Manchester City first, Liverpool second, Spurs third, Manchester United fourth, Chelsea fifth, Arsenal sixth, Newcastle seventh, West Ham 8th, Aston Villa 9th, Leicester 10th, 11th will be Brighton, 12th will be Wolves, 13th Palace, 14th Leeds, 15th Brentford, 16th Everton, 17th Nottingham Forest, 18th Fulham, 19th Southampton, and then 20th will be Bournemouth. Those are my predictions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many I'll get right. Hopefully I could get at least, I think 5 would probably be realistic, but I want to get maybe half of them perhaps. I don't know. We will see. But ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys have enjoyed my predictions. If you disagree, sound off in the comments. Tell me what your predictions are. And if you agree, then agree, I guess. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. Like I said, I'll do career mode later. I hope you guys will have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.